How you doing, guys? Back again for another fly time video. The fly I'm going to be tying for you this evening is my version of the Irish octopus. Um, Hook and get tying on again is a Hook-kamasan B175 size 12, and this is another one of my favourite flies. So I've already tied down the hook, black tying silk, touch and turns all the way down, and I'm going to tie on the tail of the fly here. And what this is this is just neon floss, neon glow bright floss. You can use yellow floss as well. You can use neon tying silk or yellow tying silk, whatever, but I prefer to use the neon floss. I think it just gives the fly that extra wee bit more attraction in the water. Now, the secret with this fly is do not overdress the tail. For the simple reason being, it just won't work. So just keep the tail nice and subtle. So I've just tied that on there. Don't worry, I'm going to trim that back. That's just for tying on purposes. And wind your excess all the way down, so that whenever you're dubbing on your body, you're getting a nice even body all the way through the fly. Now, the last fly I tied was the Bubby Hopper for these, and I mentioned in that video that was a big ripple fly. This is also, again, a big ripple fly. Now, if you ask the guys that fish all the locks in Ireland, all the white locks such as Loch Coral, Block Mask, etc., and I'm including some of my best friends on that, they'll fight for it as well. Dan the Man and Johnny Doherty from Derry, they can vouch for this fly, that's for sure. It's one of their favourites, one of all their favourites, and simple reason being is because it's an outright fish catcher. Now, this isn't just for wild brown trout either, this is just straight across the board. It's an outright fish catcher. So even if you're not fishing white locks for wild brown trout, if it's fisheries, you're fishing for rainbow trout and the stocky brownies, if you get the right conditions, a nice big ripple, a nice warm cloudy day with a big ripple, this fly is absolutely devastating. Honestly, you won't believe it. You'll see the fish actually coming up to the surface, chasing the fly in just to get at it. And on it, listen, that's no word of a lie. You take it from me, that's what happens. Sorry, I'm just looking for my wax here. Right, there we go. So that's it, tied on the tail. The tail is a neon floss tag. That's basically just what the tail is. Just tied on a silver wire rub there, that's your rub. And what I'm going to do now is apply some beeswax to my tying silk, so that I can apply the dubbing for the body of the fly. Now, the colour of seals for that I'm going to use is olive seals for. Now, you will find that at this time of the year, the majority of the trout's diet, the stuff that the trout are feeding on this time of the year in the water, it's June, and everything. You see your olives and your blacks and your browns, you can't go wrong. So that's the reason that I'm going to double this fly with olive seals for. You can't go wrong at this time of the year with olive, black and brown. Just dub it on nice and tight again, nice tight turns. Round that on this nice and tight. There we are. And just wind that down your body. There we are. We come back one turn and then right up. There we go. So that's your neon floss tail tied in, your wire rubs in, and that's your olive body. Now what I'm going to tie in is an olive cock hackle, and that's going to be my palmered hackle for the body of the fly. Now, all these materials that I'm using, guys, I order most of my trout fly materials from Cookshall's Fly Tying. It's owned by a guy called Steve Cooper. Steve's brilliant, really friendly. Really, really helpful. You're speaking to him on the phone. You tell him what you're looking for. He'll put you in the right direction. Now, and see, as far as money and paying for the materials goes, you'll not get materials at such good a quality for so cheap anywhere else. You don't need fancy capes and fancy fellers to tie effective flies, believe you me. Cookshaw's fly tying. Steve Cooper's the man you're looking for. Right, I might just get away with it. I nearly made an Ursula out there. I might just get away with it. I just caught the hackle on and no more. Aye, but honestly guys, Steve, his prices are really, really reasonable. And the quality of the capes and the fellas that you're getting from him is top class. And you'll not believe how cheap he is for capes. So, if you are a fly tyer, you do a bit of fly tying. Honestly, Cookshaw's fly tying online. Just drop him an email or phone him. And I'll put you in the right direction of what you're looking for. So what I've done there, I just tied on that body hackle, wind my silver wire rub up. Now what I'm going to do is just going to trim the excess of the rub off. Now, this is where the element of fly is my own personal element. What I'm going to tie on now is some golden olive dyed bronze mallard. I'm just going to cloak the fly in it. What this does is it gives the fly just an extra dimension. The bronze mallard itself is a very, very soft feather. It just gives the fly that extra dimension, that extra bit of movement in the water. And the dyed golden olive shines really, really well in the water. So what you're doing here, you're just looking to take, you want the speckled part of the feather. What it does is it gives that fly the leggy effect. Now, your palmered hackle, you want the bronze mallard just to slightly oversize your palmered hackle. So what I'm doing is I'm just placing that over the eye of the hook where I want it. With your other two fingers, press it around the shank of the hook so as it encircles the full shank, and then loop your tying silk on your fingers, pull it down, and then just give it an extra turn or two just to secure it. And then what you do is just maneuver those mallard fibres just so as it, the entire circumference of the fly has got them fibres coming right in it. Try not and have one area a wee bit too heavier dressed than the other. Just, as I say, just maneuver the fibres right round the full circumference of the fly until you're happy with it. And that, to me, looks about as good as you're going to get. And then just trim your excess off. And once you're happy with that, you just, what I like to do is I like to just lock those fibres in place. Just come right down and just lock them right on. Then that, you know, they're not going anywhere, they're not moving. So if I tried snapping and pulling at your fly when you're retrieving it through your water, you know your hackle fibres are safely secured. Now, the head hackle. This is the golden olive hen hackle. And once again, this has been purchased from Cookshaw's Fly Tying. I'm quite sure that the price for a hen cape was only $6.50, and the price for a cock cape I'm sure is $7.50. And honestly guys, you'll not believe the quality that you're getting for your money. I wouldn't, for tying tri flies like this and your standard wet flies, bumbles, etc, I wouldn't get my stuff from anywhere else. Honestly, for the price, Steve's the best out there. Cookshaw's Fly Tying. Now, you can use your hackle pliers for this, whatever. I'd just like to use my fingers. So what you're doing, you're just teasing the hackle fibres from the stalk of the feather back and just wind it round and touch and turns. There we are, that's one turn. And that's two turns. Three, Now this is the part of the fly where you're going to get most movement, so you want to put maybe 4 or 5 turns in. So your 4 or 5 turns of your hen hackle plus your golden olive bronze mallard cloak, that gives your fly a serious element of movement under the water, especially when you fish this fly in a big ripple. And trout just find that movement in the water, that movement of the hackle fibres, that gives it like a pulsating effect when you're pulling it through a ripple. Trout find it irresistible. They really, really do. Just, once again, I've just tied that off. Just trim your excess off. Pull your hackle fibres back. And just wind back until you have the desired flare. Now, everybody fishes their own style. Some people like their hackles tied right down. Some people like them flared away up, but I like it. Let me see, I'll just show you. It's hard to explain this, but I like it to sit just as if you're doing that with your hand. So it's just like that in order. So that when you're retrieving the fly, closes and opens. Closes and opens. That's the effect that you're going for. So we're nearly there now. Just maybe 1, 2 more turns, and then tidy your head off. Nice tidy head, so that when you whip finish and varnish it, you're left with a nice shiny black head. And to me, that looks beautiful to me. There we go. That's what you're looking for. What I'm going to do now, I'm just going to whip finish the fly. What I like to do is 3 or 4 turns of a whip finish. Twice. That's 1. And 1 more. 1, 2, 3. And so that's your double whip finish. And if you put a coat of varnish on top of that, and I've told you this before, this fly will never fall, never ever in a million years fall apart. Never. But there we are, guys. That's my version of the Irish octopus. Very, very, very effective for wild brown trout, and also if you're fishing fisheries, stocky rainbows and stocky browns as well. Seeing a big ripple, a nice warm cloudy day with a big ripple, honestly you need to have one of these in your box. So you do. Very effective as a top dropper fly to attract a fly to your cast, but it's also a big fish catcher. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more trout and salmon action to come.